And the biggest judge of my books is my father. I've told you about my father before. He's 86 and a half years old. He's a World War II vet. He developed the book, authored the book, Abraham Lincoln Gettysburg Address Illustrated, you'll recall. He lived through the Depression. When he was in elementary school, he'd finish class and go work at the cigar factory down the street to help put food on the table. Today that would be illegal. And I could go on and on and on. In many ways, I mean, he went to college, but in many ways he's self-taught about so much, as am I, despite all my degrees in education and so forth. What I'm interested in many ways, I'm self-educated in. But when I sent him a draft of Liberty and Tyranny, he was the first one I sent it to. I didn't hear from him for about a week. And then he calls me and he says, Mark, and by the way, calls me every night. Mark, this book, you're going to sell 1 million copies of this book. I said, Dad, nobody sells 1 million copies of a book, unless it's about dieting or food or scandal or somebody's passed away. Nobody's going to sell 1 million copies of a book on political philosophy. He said, mark my words. And he was right. So he called me after the show last night. He said, I just finished Ameritopia. He said, it took me 2 weeks. He's got very bad eyesight, some eye issues. He said, it took me 2 weeks. And I don't have the audio yet to give him, or I'd give him the audio. I said, well, why'd it take you so long? He said, I had to digest this. Sentence after sentence, paragraph after paragraph, chapter after chapter, because one leads into the other. And then you tie it all together at the end. I said, well, what do you think, Dad? He said, son, let me tell you something. People are going to read this book long after you're gone. Now, it's my dad, so he's biased, and yet he is somewhat objective. And I said to him, well, what makes you think that? He said, because people who read this book are going to understand individual liberty and the civil society and the nature of man like never before. And they're also going to understand totalitarianism, its roots, its appeal, its allure, like never before. And he said, son, with this Republican primary all over the place and people looking for answers, and not only that, reinforcement, support, information that they can take to their fellow Americans, this will do it.